Mesa redonda. What's cooking in the travel tech startup scene? Modera Enrique Ruiz, Subdirector General de Marketing Exterior del Turismo de Turespaña.
Buenos días a todos, otra vez en el segundo día de la Convención de Turespaña, que va, como sabéis, de nuevas tecnologías emergentes para un modelo turístico nuevo. Todo cambia otra vez. Esta sesión va a ser en inglés porque tenemos ponentes que no hablan en español. Si alguien necesita interpretación simultánea, tenéis en la recepción, podéis salir un momento a cogerla. We're going to talk about startups and entrepreneurs and people that founded companies that change things. If you're talking about innovation, disruptions, you have to have startups, and that's something we wanted to do since last year. So very happy to share this. We have seriously impressive talent here today, and 4 different companies that do 4 different things, and I think we're going to get a great vision of what's going on. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce our panelists today. Jan Dolezal. Where are you? So Jan is the founder and CEO of Smart Guide. He has a background in machine learning and AI, holds an MBA from Harvard Business School. He led digital transformation at McKinsey and for 10 years, and then he quit and founded Smart Guide. Jan, welcome. He's a frequent traveler to Tenerife, too. He told me yesterday. Rocío. One sec. Rocío Trujillo. Rocío Trujillo is the general manager for FIBA for Southern Europe. Rocío graduated in law and business administration in Seville, and then she earned an MBA from INSEAD in Singapore and France. Started as a lawyer in Cuatro Casas, then moved to McKinsey, where she worked in strategy for 5 years. Then moved to Amazon, and then she took over as FIBA Southern Europe. Welcome, Rocío.
Thank you.
Fabián González, I think a lot of you will know him. Fabián is here as an analyst for Phocuswright and mostly as an expert in everything that has to do with startups and the travel tech scene. Fabián, welcome.
Thank you very much.
And last but not least, Simona Graziani. She is an expert in consultancy. She worked at P&G, which is the best school for marketing, and she also worked as marketing manager in Amazon. So we have 2 former McKinsey, 2 former Amazon executives here. Before she left everything to go as a co-founder and CMO of Takyon, which is a very interesting technology that I'm sure you never heard about. So I'm going to ask you first, what does your company, why does your company exist, what problem are you solving? So let's start with Jan, Smart Guide. Why and what are you doing with the Smart Guide?
So Smart Guide is a platform for digital travel guides and smart destination management. And we founded it because we saw that tourism organizations struggle with developing their own travel apps. Usually it's very expensive to develop an app and then even more to maintain it over time, and travelers don't usually like to have different app for every place they visit. So we built Smart Guide as a platform that all destinations can use to very easily publish their best digital guides in a very limited time. And then we use an app to guide tourists through the destination with stories from local guides, personalized recommendations that make people go to even the less visited places through inspiration, and they tend to stay longer. So we are now working with more than 300 tourism boards as the official guide, mainly in Central Europe, now actually strongest growing in Germany. But we just launched in Spain, so I hope we will soon have many Spanish tourism boards on board as well.
So thank you, Jan. You're no longer a startup, you're a scale-up now with 300 destinations. So, Fever, Rocío.
I also don't know if we qualify as a startup anymore, but rather a scale-up. But what we do is we're the leading global live entertainment discovery platform. So we inspire over 200 million people per month on what are the things to do around their location. And we are multi-category, from touristic places to experiences, to music and nightlife, to theater, everything that there's around to do in your city. And at the same time, we're a huge technology platform, and we empower creators and venues to actually shape their experiences, improve their experiences, and then scale them up throughout the world.
Fantastic. Did you say 200 million people every month?
Yes.
Wow, that's impressive. Fabián, tell us about Phocuswright and your role at Phocuswright, please.
Thank you very much for having me. It's such a huge pleasure to be here. And well, actually, Phocuswright, I guess the most of you travel professionals know what Phocuswright is, but for those who don't, Phocuswright is the leading authority in travel research and insights that drives the strategic decisions of the largest companies in the travel at the global scale.
Thank you. And last but not least, Simona, Takyon. Why Takyon, and what do you do?
First of all, thank you very much for having me here. It's a pleasure. So Takyon, it's the first platform where people can resell their travel bookings, the not refundable travel bookings that they don't use anymore because they cannot do that. The main idea that inspired us came from 2021, more or less. It was the moment of hype of all the new technologies of Web3, so the blockchain mainly, and we tried to think about how to apply these new technologies to something real, to the real life, and especially in tourism. So we had this pain of losing the money when you buy a not refundable reservation that you cannot use anymore. So we decided to transform these bookings into digital goods and being goods to be resellable and transferable to people. So we founded 2 years ago, and in fact, yesterday it was our birthday of Takyon. We started in Italy, and this year we also expand to Spain. So we also work now in Spain, and both in the hospitality business, the experience business, and little spoiler, in 2 weeks also the travels, the organized travels tours.
So if I have a booking and I cannot use it, and there's a cancellation policy, I can resell that booking?
Exactly. If you buy with
tokenized.
Takyon,
Yeah.
and
Legally.
you get your tag, your
That's the
token.
point.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
how did you come to
resell it.
that idea? Because, I mean, it sounds like pretty crazy, like selling your booking that you cannot use. I mean, how did you get to that idea, the founder?
It's like a wall up at the end. So we understand that applying the same logic of a marketplace, also travels could be a win-win for everybody. So we started to understand how to do that technologically also.
So your moniker will be the Wallapop of bookings.
More or less.
Okay. All right. Let's start off. Fabián, you work with Phocuswright. You see where the money is flowing, what categories are being invested in. Give us a helicopter view on what is happening in the travel tech scene and what's going on.
Yeah. First of all, allow me to clarify, because I heard in previous sessions that we in Spain was lagging in terms of technology and travel tech. And as far as I know, being part of Phocuswright is not true. We are extremely good in terms of technology adoption, technology development. We have Amadeus. This is the first GDS in the world, and the first bed bank in the world. So we are not lagging, for sure. We are on the very top market on travel technology. We are very good at technology development. So, and we have to believe in ourselves. And this is our, one of the first Spanish problems. We tend to think that everything coming from abroad is better than we have here in Spain, and we have to change our mindset. We are good, and we have to believe in our strength. And technology and travel is for sure one of our strengths. So
There you go, rallying the troops. Very good.
Yeah. Actually, in Phocuswright, there's a lot of people coming from all around the world to Phocuswright conference, taking place in Barcelona, Phoenix, and all around the world. And there's a saying in the travel tech ecosystem, and all the startups, entrepreneurs say that if you want to go big and if you want to succeed in travel tech space, you have to conquer Spanish market. If you cannot to conquer Spanish market, you are not going globally, and you are not going huge. So, just saying.
That's a very good point.
In terms of the framework we are talking about, let's put some figures on the table. I have to read my notes because, of course, the memory is not one of my few talents, so I have to read these figures. In terms of market sizing, when we talk about funding, there's a huge investment going on at the global scale. So in 2019, the market sizing in terms of funding climbed up to $11.8 billion. In 2020, with the pandemic, it was a huge drop, of course, to 7.4 billion, as the world, of course, grounded held due to the pandemic. But in 2021, the funding exploded to new heights, setting records to 11.7 billion. But in 2022, only 2 years ago, the funding nearly matches the earlier high, 11.7. So we have the breaking point in 2021, then a drop, and in 2023, the last year, that's the last year we have data, it's been a dramatic drop in terms of funding, resulting in the lowest level of investment in dollars rise since 2014. Due to the interest, the money is not so cheap as it was in 2021, 2022. And of course, it's affected the funding and investment funds.
Okay, so where's the money flowing? Which category? Is it transport? Is it distribution? Is it marketplaces? Where is it?
Well, one important thing is that the most of the funding historically went to B2C companies. 70% versus 30% to B2B companies. But this balance is now going to B2B companies. The focus of investment funds are going to B2B companies. So now in 2024, 2023, the situation is almost in balance, 24 versus 52. The mostly
so B2B.
It's balanced. And in terms of regions, it's very interesting because Asia Pacific till 2017 was the first market, the first region in terms of funding, with almost 65% at the global. And Europe 20, in 2017, 60 for Asia Pacific, 20 for the Americas, North America mostly, and only 10% in Europe. By 2023, Europe is getting 44% of the funding. So we are the region most interested in that in terms of funding. Only 22 in America, in North America. Asia Pacific gets only 12%. And the Middle East, South America, and Africa is getting almost a quarter. I mean, 22% of the whole funding investment in terms of in the regions. So,
okay, thank you, Fabián. Rocío, let's move on to you. We've been seeing a pivot from product to experiences in the economy, right? We've seen the emergence of digital travel experiences platforms, amusements, the Viator, and the likes. And now there's a new beast, right, which is you. It's a different, it's similar in the trend, but it's a different thing. So where do you see these digital experiences marketplaces going to, and what's the customer behavior? How do you contribute to the tourism system at large? Because I definitely see Fever as a tourism company.
Indeed, indeed. It's one of the categories where we're investing more is tourism. Mainly because we have so much data that, because we cover 2,100 K experiences every year. So we have so much data that we're able to identify the trends and what's going on in the market, and then we put that data at the disposal of the partners that we work with. But as per your question, as you said, there's no doubt that today tourists want to understand very clearly where they're going to spend their money, where they're going to go, where they're going to eat, but also what are they going to experience. They're asking for more, they're not going, or they're not as happy as before whenever they go to a touristic place and just go and see. Now they want to go and experience. For example, one of those, how do we say this, observatory, right? The One World Observatory in New York City used to be no more than an elevator that took people up there and just so that they could just experience the views and see the views. Well, today they're way more than that. They've built an end-to-end experience around mixing digital and physical and Instagram-like experiences, so that people who actually go there can enjoy not only with the people around, but also they can extend what they've seen and what they've experienced digitally, right? So as a result, their audience engagement and audience visits have just boomed. And this is what we're seeing. People want to go to experiences. People are keen to spend money on these experiences, but they cannot be cheap or not high quality. Because today, we're in a world of information. You can get very quick access to the reviews of any experience, and whenever you, as a venue or as a touristic place, decide to invest in one of these digital experiences and it's not good enough, then the reviews are gonna bust your core business, right? So this is where we're working from, this angle. So we are very good, and this is what we do, and this is what I believe that Fever has an angle. We're very good at understanding what your audiences want, what are the trends, local trends that are going to apply to your venue, but also what are the global trends that are happening per type of economical, social background, economics, country of origin, etc. And then we put that at the disposal of the partner so that they can develop the right experience at the right ticket price point, so that actually whenever they decide to spend money on these experiences, they're sure they're going to monetize them.
Very interesting. So there is an intersection between phygital, right, and social media has to be physical, digital, and social media accessible, plus has to be local, authentic, and quality.
Indeed. Global, I would say.
Global.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk, Simona, let's talk a little bit about tech and travel distribution. So technology obviously has disrupted the travel sector many times over. It has disintermediated and reintermediated the travel chain, and now new things keep coming up. Now, Takyon, right?
Yeah.
You explain what you do, and it's amazing, right? Nobody thought of that. So where do you see the next wave of disruption in distribution? What are the technologies we should look out for in this space.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. What you said is super true. So every time that there is a new technology, of course, everything changes, and sometimes it's so big that disrupts completely one sector. So we think about almost 30 years ago, something very important happened that I think that was the most important disruption, the first big disruption, that was the launch of internet, so accessible to everybody. And of course, that era was then called the Web 1, so where everybody could access to content. They couldn't do anything else, but of course, this was a super big revolution. So I remember when I went to school that I had to do researches, and instead of going to libraries, I just went to my computer at home and researched for everything. So it was really a super big change. Later on, so some years ago, around 2004 or 2005, there was the era of the so-called Web 2. So people, a part of access to content, could also create content. And in fact, this era was also called the social web. So all the platforms that we know also right now, so Instagram, Facebook, and so on, but many others, of course, born thanks to this. And also here, I still remember the very first also app to talk with people. And now we are in another era, another phase, a new one, the so-called Web 3. Maybe many of you already know about that, and it's an era where new technologies, for example, the blockchain, are very important, are the king, are central to that. And in this area, it's very central, the concept of ownership and digital property. So people can also be owner of something digital. So let's, for example, think about NFTs in art, mostly, but also the cryptocurrencies. So people really own something that is still digital. These, of course, open many different business, and for us, for Takyon, it was and it is still a technology super important. We work with the blockchain. Why? Because we want to use the concept of digital property, but as I said before, to apply it to the real life. So what we do, basically, is to transform what is a booking, that could be an hotel booking, an experience booking, as I said before, and transforming it into a digital good. This can be, of course, transferred, moved, resold also. So this is the main feature of our platform. I always make this example. No? Every time I buy a good that could be, for example, my phone, I go to the shop, I pay for it, I buy it, and I really own it because it's physical. So it's something that I have in my hands, so I can do whatever I want. So if then I want to buy the iPhone XXX Max 1, and I don't use anymore the previous one, I just give it to my father, to my sister, or I, for example, put it for sale on platforms, so for example, Wallapop or others. And why this didn't happen before with the reservations? Because, of course, they are contract for services, not goods, so we couldn't really exchange them. But these, of course, generate a notion in the market, because many people, when they buy prepaid, not refundable bookings, and then they cannot use it anymore, they just lose money. This, of course, it's not good. It's not a win-win situation for anybody. So we decided to give a solution to people, to travelers, and enable them to really resolve their bookings. Of course, this is bigger than Takyon, than what we do. This can be applied to any kind of service, so touristic for sure, but also others. Let's imagine restaurants where, for example, you buy in advance and you purchase it in advance, but to everything. So this is really, in my view, in my mind, the new disruption that is happening in the market. And maybe it will not be Takyon only, but also other players, or maybe bigger ones. But this is something that it's already happening, and the numbers are super clear. And that's why also we launched after the hospitality business already the experience business and the trip business, because there was this need coming from the market. So people coming to us saying, okay, I have the reservation, I want to resell it. So we just decided to amplify our reach to other businesses, and I think this will be the future for sure.
Thank you, Simona. So digital property, digital ownership, I have to confess I haven't heard about blockchain in a while, but it's still alive and kicking, and it's a technology that, remember 3 years ago, it was all blockchain washing, and then disappeared, and crypto, and they came back. Okay, now, AI washing. Let's talk about AI and travel planners. The purpose of this conference is not just talk about digital and technology for the sake of technology. Technology has to have a purpose, right? And the purpose of AI for us, for our assistant that we presented yesterday, is to help manage tourism flows and to help, divert tourists to less crowded places. Tell us about the Smart Guide and how are you working exactly on that with destinations to get tourists wherever you want them to go in a clever and digital way. You've got three minutes.
So last year,
We're running out of time.
7% of the travelers used chatbots to plan their trips, and this year it will be a lot more as these get integrated in solutions like the one Turespaña is working on. But there are, I think, two important issues that the tourism board should be aware of. The first one is that the chatbots hallucinate. It's a well-known problem. But what people don't realize is that even if you feed chatbot only with your official content, with your data, that is pure facts, just by the design of the chatbot, it will extrapolate between different things it knows, and it can invent nonsense. So to solve this, we always provide the official content to travelers if we get it from the tourism boards. And we only use AI to write some story if we don't get the official content. But even then, we developed over the last 2 years a 3-layered architecture. So first, we just collect the facts, the hard data. Then we identify the unique story points for each place, because the chatbots tend to repeat themselves. So this way we can avoid it. And only as the last layer, we let the chatbot to write a nice story, because that's where it's very powerful. But then the second, even bigger problem is the recommendation itself. So if you, Enrique, ask ChatGPT what to do in Barcelona, and if I ask, we will get very similar answer. So it doesn't actually help to prevent overcrowding. And the reason is because the chatbots, they are basically neural networks that cluster relevant, related information together. So that's why we get very similar answers, even though they will be worded differently. Now, to solve it with Smart Guide, we actually got inspired by Spotify, Netflix, and YouTube, and the personalization engine that they have. So if you go to your YouTube page, you will get very different recommendations for videos to watch than I do. And in Smart Guide, we basically did exactly that, just for travel content. This, by the way, has nothing to do with the large language models and generative AI like ChatGPT. It's just pure machine learning AI. And so the way how it works is that when a destination publishes their content on Smart Guide, we let the AI run through the classification engine, runs through the content. It's trained on 20 million places of interest to understand what is it about, if it's about architecture or it's about Gothics or beaches or activities for kids. And then as you use it as a user, it see which places you visit, what content you are interested in, builds your personalized interest profile, and then it matches your interests with the less known places in the destination. So that in the end, yes, everyone will see what are the top spots in the destination, but we recommend different places to every visitor based on their interest profile. And that's how we can spread the tourists with a very positive motivation. We don't tell them you cannot go somewhere, but we inspire them with stories that are relevant to them. And doing so in the analytics, we can see that we managed to get the users to spend about 30% of their time in the places where they would normally not go. So they still want to go, if somebody travels to Barcelona, they still want to see Sagrada Familia the first time. But then on the second day and third day, the tourists, they are also tired of being in the crowds all the time. So they really appreciate these stories about places that are relevant for them, but they would normally not find.
Thank you. Very interesting and very aligned to what we're doing here. I love the idea of bringing personalization engine from Spotify. I just hope it doesn't happen when it happens in my house. I got all the children's songs and my songs all mixed up. But look, we just finished our time window. So I'd like to thank you all for your contribution. I felt this panel fell short of time. We needed more time to discuss more things, but it is what it is. Thank you very much, guys, and please join me in a big applause to our panel.
Gracias.